By the time you sit down to write your resignation email, the calendar invite for your replacement's first interview is already on someone's screen. Not because anyone saw it coming, because the system saw it coming. Your manager has had the conversation. Payroll has run the math. HR has a folder with your name on it and a date inside it. And nobody told you that the system was watching for the last 6 months, picking up the meetings you stopped raising your hand in, the channels you stopped posting in, the camera that started staying off. The biggest resignation mistake is not when you leave. It is everything you didn't do in the 90 days before you leave. And by the time most people figure that out, the leverage is already gone. I'm going to show you exactly what that costs. One person you'll meet in a minute, 7 years in, good performer, did everything you would think you were supposed to do, lost about $41,000 in a single Wednesday morning, not because of anything she did on the way out, because of what she didn't do in the 90 days before. Today, we are going to walk through exactly what those 90 days look like, what payroll has already staged, what your manager's calendar already says, what IT has already pre-staged for the morning you hand in your notice, and the moves you make before any of that to protect the paycheck you have already earned and the leverage you didn't know you were spending. I'm Hayes. This is the invisible ladder, the career rules nobody puts in the handbook, but everyone eventually has to learn. If this channel is new to you, hit subscribe. We do one of these every week, and the longer you watch, the more of the resignation playbook you'll have before you need it. Here is the thing nobody tells you. You think resigning is a relationship event. You have been there for years, you feel loyal, you're worried about how to tell your manager, you're rehearsing the conversation in the shower on Sunday night. The company is not having a relationship event. The company is having a contract event. The minute the word resign enters the room, every system inside that company shifts from retention mode to separation mode. Payroll runs a different calculation on you. IT pulls up a different access list. HR opens a different folder. Legal looks at a different paragraph in your offer letter. Your manager is handed a script. The script tells them what to say, what not to put in writing, and what your last day will be, which may or may not match the date you proposed. You are not negotiating with a person. You are negotiating against a process. The process started the second you said the word. So the real work, the work that decides how much of your paycheck walks out of the building, happens before you say the word. I'm going to walk you through this with one person. Call her Adele. Adele had been at her company 7 years. Senior individual contributor, good performer, stable. The kind of employee a company quietly assumes is a permanent fixture, which means the kind of employee a company quietly stops investing in around year 5. Adele decided she was leaving on a Tuesday in February. She gave notice the following Wednesday morning at 9:14 a.m. She did everything you would think you were supposed to do, gave more than 2 weeks, wrote a warm letter, offered to help with the transition, told her manager in person before anything went in writing. By Wednesday at 11 a.m., 3 things had happened. Her access to the customer database was reduced to read only. The bonus that was scheduled to vest the following Friday, the bonus she had earned on the previous fiscal year, had been reclassified inside payroll under a clause she had never read. And the senior director, who would have been her best written reference for the next 10 years, had received a 3-line email from HR telling him not to put anything about Adele in writing until the separation paperwork was closed. Adele lost about $41,000 across that morning, not because she did anything wrong on the way out, because she did everything wrong in the 90 days before. Let me show you what those 90 days actually look like. The first thing payroll runs the second your name enters the separation queue is what gets called, internally, the resignation date math. It is a calendar. On that calendar are your bonus payout date, your equity vesting cliff, your accrued PTO conversion rate, your tuition and sign-on clawback windows, any unvested retention payment, and any relocation package with a return of funds clause. Each one has a number next to it, and each of those numbers is different on Tuesday than it is on Friday. Most people pick a resignation date that feels clean, end of a project, end of a quarter, before a holiday. The company picks dates based on the calendar.
If your bonus pays on March 31st and you resign on March 28th, in most plans, you forfeit it. 3 days, the full bonus. No goodwill payment, no recourse. If your equity has a 1-year cliff and you are at 11 months, you walk away from every share. The cliff was not negotiable when you signed, and it is not negotiable when you leave. And if you took relocation 18 months ago against a 24-month clawback, you owe that money back out of your final paycheck automatically before it reaches you. The move is this. Before you decide whether to resign, you pull out your offer letter, your bonus plan document, your equity grant document, and any side agreement you signed at hire. You put every single date in those documents onto one page. You circle the next 12 months. Your resignation date is not a feeling. It is a date on that page, the day after the last circle. If you don't have those documents on hand, you ask HR for them, politely, in writing, framed as financial or estate planning, before anyone has any reason to wonder why you're asking. Once you're in the separation queue, the same request reads as preparation. Before you're in the queue, it reads as paperwork.
The second mechanism runs on a different clock. The day you become a known flight risk is the day your reference economy closes. Inside the company, there is an informal but very real understanding among managers and senior people. Do not put written endorsements in the file of someone who is leaving. Not on the company review tool. Not in a LinkedIn recommendation. Not in an email that could be forwarded. Not in a Slack message that could be exported. The reasoning is legal. Written endorsements during the separation period can complicate a future employment dispute, especially if the separation is contested. But the effect on you is practical. The references you would have gotten freely on a Tuesday in October are not available to you on a Tuesday in March. The window for collecting written endorsements is before anyone has any reason to think you are leaving. Not LinkedIn recommendations on the way out. Specific, dated, written endorsements collected in the normal course of work. A manager's email after a project ships. A peer's message after you covered for them. A director's note attached to a performance review. The kind of sentence that 3 years from now you can quote in an interview because it exists in writing and you know exactly when it was written. You save them to a personal email address, with dates, with names, with context for what the work was. This is not paranoid. This is the file you build for yourself, in parallel with the company is building on you. The company's file follows you for 2 years after you leave, through reference checks, background checks, and the informal back-channel calls that happen between hiring managers in the same industry. Your file follows you for the rest of your career. If you don't have one, you start one this week, quietly, with dates, before anyone has any reason to suspect. You are not weak for feeling this. You are not disloyal. The fear is not a character flaw, and the loyalty is not a delusion. You worked there for 7 years, or 4, or 12. You built things. You covered for people on bad days. You stayed when other people left. The bond is real. Everything you are feeling right now is the correct response to closing a contract you have been living inside for a long time. The mistake is not the feeling. The mistake is letting the feeling do the work that the calendar should be doing. This is the part most people miss. Resigning is not a moral act. It is not a betrayal. It is not a relationship ending. It is a contract closing on schedule. The company is not going to be hurt. The company is a process. The process has a clause for your departure that was written before you were hired by a lawyer you have never met, who anticipated this exact moment and priced it into the offer you accepted. The fear you are feeling, the loyalty knot in your chest, the guilt about telling your manager, the worry about leaving people short-staffed, the Sunday night spiral that has been running for months is real. It is also the exact emotion the system depends on you feeling to keep you from doing the work in the 90 days before. You are not afraid of leaving. You are afraid of the leverage gap, the gap between what you are owed and what you can collect on the way out. Close the gap. The fear closes with it. Here is what happens on the morning you give notice. Not in every company, in most. Within 15 minutes of the words leaving your mouth, IT receives a ticket. Your access to certain systems is reduced or revoked depending on your role and how the company classifies your separation risk. In some industries, finance, legal, anything with customer data, anything with intellectual property, the reduction is total before you finish the conversation with your manager. You sit back down at your desk and your laptop has logged you out. Within an hour, your manager has had a call with HR and a separation script has been opened. The script tells your manager what to say, what not to put in writing, and what your last day will be. The script also tells your manager which exit interview questions to ask, which ones to skip, and what to do with the answers. Within 24 hours, 3 things will happen, and you need to be ready for all 3. You will be invited to a transition planning meeting that is also a documentation meeting. Anything you say in that meeting about why you were leaving goes into a file. The honest answer, I don't feel valued, the project is a mess, I'm burned out, my manager is impossible, is the answer the file is hoping for. The right answer is short, neutral, future-oriented, and rehearsed. I have a new opportunity that aligns with where I want to take my career. I'm grateful for my time here. That is it. Do not fill the silence. Do not editorialize. Do not vent. The silence in that room is not awkward. The silence is the file waiting for you to keep talking. You may receive a counteroffer. The data on counteroffers is brutal. Most people who accept one are gone within 12 months anyway, often involuntarily, because the counteroffer is a retention bridge, not a reinvestment. The counteroffer also marks you internally. The next round of cuts, your name is on a different list. The next stretch project, you are not the obvious owner. The counteroffer is the company buying time to replace you on their schedule rather than yours. And depending on your contract, you may be placed on what some companies call garden leave, paid leave where you are still on payroll but locked out of the building and your systems, with your non-compete clock starting on day 1 rather than your last working day. Read the clause before you give notice, not after. After is too late. While you still have access, you collect the proof. Not company data, not customer lists, not anything proprietary, none of that. That is how people get sued, and that is how the file you spent 90 days protecting gets converted into a file the company uses against you. What you collect is the proof of you. Your performance reviews, your written goals from the last 3 years, the email threads where someone senior said you did good work, the public-facing project pages with your name on them, any internal recognition, any award, any all-hands shout-out that was captured anywhere. The numbers from the dashboards that your manager has cited about your work in conversations with you, the conversion rates, the revenue numbers, the customer satisfaction scores, the project completion dates, whatever the metric is in your role. You email them to yourself at a personal address on your own time from your own device where possible as the file that proves what you did. Because the second you leave, the institutional memory of your work begins to dissolve. The Slack messages get archived, the dashboards lose your name. The manager who knew your numbers gets a new headcount and learns new numbers. The project pages get edited as new people take ownership. Within 18 months, the company will not remember what you contributed in the way you remember it. The file you save before you leave is the only version of your record that lives in the world after you do.
6 months after Adele lost $41,000, a friend of hers, same industry, same level, same kind of fatigue, came to her and said she was going to resign that week. Adele said 2 words, "Not yet." They sat down on a Sunday with the offer letter, the bonus plan, the equity grant document, and the relocation agreement. They put every date on one page. Adele's friend's resignation date moved from the 2nd week of February to the 3rd week of April, 11 weeks later. 1 full bonus cycle and a vesting tranche later. In those 11 weeks, the friend collected 6 written endorsements through normal project work, a thank you email after a deadline shipped, a peer's written note inside the company recognition tool, a director's line in a performance review attached to a specific quarter, a customer testimonial that was attributed to her by name on a public case study. She saved her performance reviews to a personal email. She wrote down the numbers from the dashboards while she still had access. She read her non-compete clause carefully and quietly negotiated it with an employment lawyer for 90 minutes. Total cost, $300. Narrowing the clause from a blanket 12-month industry restriction to 2 specific competitors she did not want to work for anyway. She gave notice on a Wednesday in April. She walked out with her bonus, her last vesting tranche, her PTO converted at the higher rate, 6 written references already in her personal email, a documented record of her 4 biggest projects, and a non-compete that was narrowed to 2 companies. Same resignation, same company, same fatigue, same Wednesday at 9:14 a.m. Different file. About $41,000 different. You are not an employee who needs permission to leave. You are a professional who has just been handed the schedule the company runs on the morning you give notice. The IT ticket, the payroll calculation, the manager's script, the HR folder, the calendar invite for your replacement, and the moves you make in the 90 days before to stand on the right side of every one of those clocks. You are not leaving a relationship. You are closing a contract on a date you choose with a file you built, on terms you negotiated before anyone in the building knew you were negotiating. That is the version of resigning that protects your paycheck. That is the version that keeps the $41,000. That is the version where the fear closes when the leverage gap closes. The resignation date is not a feeling. It is a date on a page, the day after the last circle. If you have ever resigned and you walked out of that company with less than you thought you would walk out with, a bonus you forfeited by 3 days, a reference that never came, a clause you didn't know was in your contract, a counteroffer that turned into a cut 6 months later, tell me what they took from you. One sentence, the thing you didn't know. And if you only have 10 seconds, just drop the one word for what they took: bonus, reference, equity, or clause. That one word tells me which of these to build out next. I read every one. The pattern that shows up most is the next video in this series. Don't resign yet. Build the file first. And if you haven't seen the 2-week notice video yet, the one about the rule that changed in most companies last year, that is where this file actually starts. Watch that one next. See you in the next one.